Hello and welcome to today's video. I'm Katie. I am the host of this channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my story of how I worshipped my career, how you may be doing the same thing. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to ask myself some questions. I'm going to share my story. Some of you who watch this video are going to click on it and immediately remove yourself from this video because you're like, I don't agree with that. That's baloney. That doesn't even make sense. Some of you are going to watch the whole video and you're going to be like, I don't agree with that. And some of you, a very, very small percentage of you, are going to watch this video and something will be taken from it. You'll have a thought-provoking question. You'll think about something for days and days. You'll pray over something in your life. Wow, am I worshiping that? Like, is that becoming the thing that I obsess over? I'm going to share my own story, my own misguidedness, my own error, because I know that it will support someone in having the same lessons and reflections, the ability to look in the mirror and remember what you see, the good and the bad, what's working and what's not working, what's glorifying to God and what is not. You may find this video eye-opening. You may find parts of this video confusing, but also something that you want to dive deeper in, and I'm there for that. So let's dive into this video. I've been a business owner for a little bit over 4 years now, and it has been quite the journey. And the journey has looked a lot like fighting with my own shadow. Some of you know how that feels. But I want to dive into the nitty-gritty. I want to dive into the errors and the things that I got so self-obsessed with that distracted me from my creator and the one who has a perfect purpose for me being on this planet, and is not something that I need to make up or reinvent, and that truly that ambition to come up with my own plan, to pursue my own ambition, to pursue my own desires, and not to rest and trust that God has a perfect plan and to follow that pursuit is I'm stuttering. It's so wow. It is the most exhausting, defeating journey that you could be on. And if you're on it right now, know that there is a door out, or should I say like a door in. There is an awareness that you can have that says, wait a minute, no more. I'm going to stop trusting in my own ability and my own self-sufficiency, and I'm going to actually lean on the creator who is the one who has power. We talk a lot about power in entrepreneurship, in coaching and business. We talk a lot about self. We talk a lot about power. We talk a lot about believing in yourself. And while there is absolutely an element of confidence and competency when you are providing a skill to someone or a service to someone, that competency and confidence, when it is outside of God giving you that gift, God giving you that skill, God giving you that ability to pursue and refine something, everything that you are doing is about self. It's about validating your own self. It's about validating your own identity. It's about working so hard, every corner and crevice of who you are, constantly working it to try to feel good enough. And this was my journey. And it was one that was literally pain-inducing. I had struggled for several years, almost 6 years, with chronic pain, and it started very, very connected to my self-ambition. For many of you who personally know me, you know me as a very determined, opinionated, ambitious person. And in a lot of ways, that is a gift. And in a lot of ways, that is something that I'm constantly getting to surrender to the Lord, because it gets to be used for His kingdom and not for my own desires or selfish validation. But my business took a lot of turns because I was angsty and wrestling with who am I, and who am I apart from these successes, and who am I apart from these identity validations and success, money, fame, being able to walk down the street and people know who I am and people validate me and say I'm amazing. Who am I if not those things? Who am I apart from those things? And if you take the time and be gutsy and courageous to actually look in the mirror and ask that question, you may come up with a similar answer that I had just a few months ago as I sat down with my crumpled, muddled life and said, what is happening? What is going on? Who have I become? Like, am I really, can I look in the mirror and be proud of who I am? Not because of me, but because of the bigger picture and the bigger whole that I stand for. Has my life just become this revolving door of self-validation and external validation over and over and over again? And the answer was yes. The answer was that is exactly what my life had become. Lots of people looked at my life and said, you're amazing, you're a rock star, you're so cool. And it didn't matter how many times people said that, I still felt lonely. I still felt sad. I still felt disconnected from everyone and everything. The truth is, and I shared it in a video that I'll tag above, I shared a video this week on loneliness. And it's something that I've struggled with so often. And it is something that a lot of people don't see from day to day because I am a happy, bubbly, joyful, interactive kind of person. But it's a daily struggle. It's a weekly struggle. It's a struggle that I'm constantly giving to the Lord when I feel alone and lonely. Part of what exacerbated that kind of experience was constantly pursuing and chasing after things that weren't going to actually fill up that space that was empty. And again, we use that metaphor in that video, so definitely check that out if you haven't, because it is an encouraging video, I trust. But I constantly was pursuing all of these things that I thought would fill me up. Fame, skill, money, clients, clout, acknowledgement, people saying I was amazing. I pursued careers that were incredibly detrimental to my health in all the ways, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, so that people said I was amazing. I put myself in jobs and positions that constantly had me at conflict with what I said I believed and what I actually believed. And eventually it got to a point where I was in a meeting with a job that I had taken, and I was like, oh my goodness, it was like my eyes were opened, so not of my own power or my own might. And I had this moment of saying, whoa, wait a minute. Everything that I say I believe in, this is the opposite. How I'm behaving, what I am saying, what I am choosing in this room is absolutely in contradiction to what I tell everyone else I believe. And from that moment on, God gave me such a clear conviction that what I was doing was not okay and was so about my own validation, me chasing my own ambition, that I quit my job. I completely tore down my business and reinvented it to be biblically based, to be humble and sincere, to be something that was honest about my own weaknesses, about my own struggles, and bringing women along the community who can learn. We can all learn together, that there isn't one hierarchy person in the room that knows everything apart from the Lord, but that we're all working at this life together. And it has not been easy. You know, sometimes we think that because we choose the direction that we believe God has us, and we've diligently studied his word, and we know that what we're doing is in alignment with what he's called us to be and do. And that does not mean that you will have cultural or worldly success. And that has been very apparent to me. But what I have found success in is kingdom-oriented work. My pastor's wife said this to me a couple weeks ago, and it just struck me because I was like, this is the objective. The objective is kingdom work. It's not about how much money we bring in. It's not about how many clients we get. It's about, are we encouraging and reflecting back worship of God to the people around us? Am I serving my women? Well, am I pointing them closer to God? Am I pointing them closer to Jesus Christ? Am I pointing them closer to walking daily with him? If I'm not, then I am not being successful at the work he's given me. And if I'm chasing something else, money, fame, external validation, clout, then my objective is temporary, is cheap, is misguided at the very least. And as I wrestled and worked at this with my Lord and Savior, with people around me that were supporting me and encouraging me, I started to feel a sense of purpose that I hadn't ever before. And my girls in my spaces who truly desired to follow the Lord started to experience a whole different depth of relationship with Him as we worked at this together. And then things started to be more clear to each of us. And then there was a sense of peace and a sense of calmness and groundedness in what we were doing and in being unattached to what the earthly results were. And then there was strength for the situations that we were struggling with. And then there was courage for the things that we needed to say that we hadn't been saying. And I say we because you cannot do this alone. Like, it's amazing to me how, like, in the very beginning of the Bible, even as Eden was perfect and God had created everything perfect, man needed someone. Humans needed humans. God has given us each other because we need each other to reflect back, to refine, to be and do life with, to cheerlead and support each other in reflecting the glory back to God. And this was something that was very, very clearly on in the beginning. I isolated myself from the people that would hold me accountable. I isolated myself from the people who would actually call me forward on the things on how I was behaving differently than what I said I believed. And I put myself in rooms where people would validate what I would say. I put myself in coaching, business, strategy spaces where people would validate the results that I created earthly, but not actually acknowledge where I was lacking and weak spiritually. And I continued on this path for year after year after year. And nothing in my life truly thrived, except for my ego, I guess I would say. Nothing in my life actually thrived. And it doesn't mean that, earthly speaking, what is in my life will still thrive now. But there's a sense of purpose and peace that regardless of any of that, my objective is clear. And I am moving every single day by the grace of God, succeeding in that goal. And I am grateful. So for you, as you sit with, whoa, hold up, I never really thought about my own business or my own communities or like the things that I'm engaging my family, my relationships from a kingdom-oriented perspective. Whoa, I am getting like washed up and spun around by the financial struggles of my life or the people that I love and care about. Whoa, I am getting turned around daily, emotionally, about the logistics of my kids' education. Wait a minute. Whoa, I'm getting so hurt by this person not loving me back. Whoa, I am suffering and like hopeless in my suffering as I experience chronic pain, not being able to sleep, struggling with depression or anxiety. I'm letting these things run my world. I'm letting these things be the source of my earth spinning every day. And that's not actually the design, the perfect design that God has put in my life. See, your business, as a Christian, your business, your entrepreneurial efforts are not separate or exclusive from the purpose that God has for you. It makes the hairs on my back like turn up sometimes when I tell people that I run a business, that I'm a business owner, I'm a business entrepreneur, because instantly the connotations and the culture around what that means, especially as a Christian, is like, oh, you're in an MLM, or you're network marketing, or you're, like people have lots of assumptions around like you're in it for the money, you're in it for the fame, you're in it for the financial freedom for your crew. But is this really about worshiping and glorifying God? Is this really about accountability and support for other people? And for a long time, that was exactly how you could describe my business. It was about what I got out of it, not what others got out of it. And even when it was about, okay, we want to create this objective for you, it wasn't a lasting objective. So these are things to really pause and think about in your own business. If your business, if you are a Christian and you desire this objective, right? If you desire to glorify the Lord and be in kingdom work, then you got to look and assess just along with me, like y'all with me. I am not arrived ever. You got to sit down and look in the mirror and take a look at where you're getting your advice from, where you're getting your counsel from, where you're getting your objectives and your success from, where you're getting your metrics from, where are you learning these things, and are those things in alignment with what God has asked you to be? And if they aren't, then this is a corner and a crevice of your life that you think is okay to pull apart from the Lord, and it's not. And it brings a sense of heaviness and depressive pressure because you weren't meant to stand alone. You weren't meant to hold yourself up. You were meant to be held, to rest. These are things that we have such negative relationship to in the world we live in. Dependence is something to abhor. It's something to turn your nose at. Rest is something that is for the weak and the weary. We have these relationships to a weakness that comes from being dependent on someone or something. And the reality is, this is absolutely a part of the evil that we get glued into, the stuckness that we get glued into from self-worship and self-obsession. And I want to just call you lovingly forward to look in the mirror and to be in some work with God about how you are running your business, how you are creating in the world, how you are in community with people, how you are in your church, how you are with your family, to actually look in the mirror and remember what it is that you look like, what it is that you see, both good by the grace of God and bad, the things that He is calling you to be sanctified in. So this is a call for the people who desire this. And if there's any way that I can support you, like comment below, find me on social media, DM me. I love getting messages from those of you who are struck by something that I share. Does it take courage to share this, especially for a lot of people who I know and who have been on this journey with me that will not agree and will absolutely be like, how in the world? I don't know if we can be friends. Does it take courage? Yes. But it also is, I'll say this. Sometimes we have a lot of fear around sharing what we believe, but I'll tell you this. It is so much clearer and more comforting to know that what you are being in every part of your life is in total, transparent, honest, sincere alignment with what you actually believe, that you're being honest with yourself, that you're being honest with others. It's worth it to share what you believe. It's worth it to be transparent and sincere. It's worth the flack, the drama. It's worth the hurt feelings that may be temporary in this moment. It's worth it because that is truly love. It's not loving to be dishonest. It's not loving to say you believe something and then truly not believe that. So I want to call some of you forward lovingly. Maybe you haven't been honest. And is that a part of the behavior that's a reflection of what you really believe? Take a look in the mirror this week and do some work with God on what is actually your objective, your success metrics. What have you put your faith and trust in? And is that sincerely what it is that He wants for you? This is a doozy. I have nothing more to say. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.